The Horn of Africa, a region long known for its strategic importance and complex history, is once again drawing the world's attention. Today, it stands at the center of a major geopolitical shift, as new alliances and rivalries reshape the landscape. As of October 31, 2025, a significant new alliance is emerging between Somalia and Eritrea, two nations with a history of both cooperation and conflict. This partnership, fueled by shared concerns over Ethiopia's growing ambitions and regional influence, is shaking up the balance of power in the Horn. The Horn of Africa, home to Ethiopia, Eritrea, Somalia, and Djibouti, occupies a unique position at the crossroads of Africa and the Middle East, where continents meet and global trade routes converge. Somalia and Eritrea's decision to unite marks a dramatic turning point, directly challenging Ethiopia's traditional dominance and signaling a new era of competition. This unexpected alliance is forcing neighboring countries and international powers alike to rethink their strategies and diplomatic approaches in the region. At stake is not only control over vital sea routes that connect the Indian Ocean to the Mediterranean, but also questions of national sovereignty, the future stability of the region, and the livelihoods of millions who call the Horn of Africa home. The old rules no longer apply. A new era of regional politics has begun, and the world is watching closely to see what comes next. To truly understand the complex alliances shaping the Horn of Africa today, we must first look back at the region's turbulent past, a history defined by shifting loyalties, deep rivalries, and ever-changing borders. Ethiopia has long been the dominant force in the region, wielding both military and political power. Its history is marked by repeated conflict with its neighbors, especially Eritrea and Somalia, as it sought to maintain its influence and secure its borders. Eritrea's hard-won independence from Ethiopia in 1993 was the result of a brutal, decades-long struggle. The scars of that war run deep, leaving behind a legacy of mistrust and unresolved grievances that still shape relations today. Somalia, meanwhile, suffered a devastating defeat in the Ogaden War against Ethiopia in the late 1970s. The aftermath plunged the country into chaos, leading to a prolonged civil war and the fragmentation of the Somali state, a trauma that continues to affect the nation's politics and society. Throughout the years, alliances in the Horn have always been fluid and unpredictable. Eritrea and Ethiopia, once bitter enemies, became unlikely partners during the recent Tigray War. Yet, despite their cooperation, old suspicions and rivalries quickly resurfaced, reminding everyone how fragile peace can be. Ethiopia's renewed ambitions for direct access to the sea have reignited old fears in Eritrea. The prospect of Ethiopia seeking control over Red Sea ports has alarmed its neighbors, opening the door for new alignments and strategic calculations across the region. Both Somalia and Eritrea share a long legacy of conflict with Ethiopia, and both have experienced the consequences of its regional dominance. Today, they find common cause in resisting what they see as renewed Ethiopian assertiveness, forging a partnership built on shared interests and mutual suspicion of their larger neighbor. Their new partnership is not just a matter of convenience. It is rooted in decades of shared struggle, hardship, and a desire for greater autonomy in the face of external pressure. This alliance is a testament to how history continues to shape the present. The current realignment is not simply a reaction to recent events, but the result of a long and complicated history. Old wounds, past betrayals, and the memory of conflict all play a role in shaping today's decisions. In the Horn of Africa, old enemies can become allies when faced with a common rival. The story of shifting loyalties continues, echoing through every new alliance and every uneasy handshake. The turning point came on January 1, 2024, when Ethiopia signed a deal with Somaliland. Ethiopia, landlocked and seeking a port, agreed to a 50-year lease on Somaliland's coastline in exchange for potential recognition of Somaliland's independence. For Ethiopia, this was a strategic breakthrough. For Somalia, it was a violation of sovereignty. Somalia's government condemned the deal as illegal and recalled its ambassador from Ethiopia. The move sparked outrage across Somalia, uniting a divided nation against a common threat. Fears of military confrontation grew as Mogadishu vowed to defend its territory. Isolated and under pressure, Somalia began searching for allies. Eritrea was ready to answer the call. Eritrea quickly condemned Ethiopia's deal with Somaliland, seeing it as a threat to regional stability. In January 2024, Somali and Eritrean leaders met in Asmara, signaling a new partnership. They pledged to coordinate efforts to protect regional peace and security. The alliance soon expanded to include security cooperation and military training. Eritrean advisors reportedly began assisting Somali forces. This pragmatic partnership gives Somalia a powerful ally and Eritrea a partner against Ethiopia's ambitions. Together, they form a united front Ethiopia cannot ignore. For Ethiopia, the Somalia Eritrea alliance is a major setback. Instead of gaining regional influence, Ethiopia now faces isolation and a united opposition. The alliance creates a geographic and diplomatic barrier, complicating Ethiopia's port ambitions. Egypt, locked in a dispute with Ethiopia over the Nile, has thrown its support behind Somalia, increasing pressure on Addis Ababa. Ethiopia's options are limited: escalate and risk conflict, or seek a diplomatic solution. Both choices carry significant risks for Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. Ethiopia's internal challenges and international criticism add to the pressure. The region stands on a knife's edge. The Horn of Africa's strategic location makes control over ports and coastlines a global concern. Stretching along the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, this region sits at the crossroads of Africa, the Middle East, and Asia, making it a vital link in international commerce and security. Every year, nearly 12% of global trade, including vital oil and goods shipments, passes through these narrow waters. The Bab el-Mandeb Strait, in particular, is a lifeline for economies around the world, connecting the Indian Ocean to the Mediterranean via the Suez Canal. Somalia and Eritrea together control a vast stretch of coastline, including key maritime choke points that can influence the flow of global trade. Their ports are gateways, not just for goods, but for influence and power projection. This gives their alliance significant leverage over regional trade and security, allowing them to shape the economic and political landscape of East Africa and beyond. Ethiopia's dependence on Djibouti for trade is a vulnerability it desperately wants to overcome. With no direct access to the sea, Ethiopia's economy relies on its neighbors' ports, making maritime access a top national priority. The competition for port access is about more than economics. It's about power and security. Whoever controls these ports can influence military movements, trade flows, and even regional stability. Global powers like the US, China, and Turkey all have military or economic stakes in the region. Their presence underscores the Horn's importance as a strategic hub, with rivalries playing out both above and below the surface. Any shift in the balance of power here has worldwide implications, potentially disrupting supply chains and altering the course of international relations. The moves made by Somalia, Eritrea, and Ethiopia are being watched closely by diplomats, analysts, and military strategists across the globe. The Horn of Africa is now a crowded chessboard of competing interests, where every decision can ripple far beyond its shores, shaping the future of global trade and security. The world has responded swiftly to the Ethiopia-Somaliland deal and the new alliance. Major international bodies and regional powers have largely backed Somalia's position, calling for respect of its sovereignty. Egypt has been the most vocal supporter, while other African nations warn against destabilizing the region. The US and China urge restraint, fearing instability could disrupt global trade and security. Somaliland, meanwhile, celebrates the deal as a step toward recognition. The diplomatic landscape is complex, with each actor pursuing its own interests. The international community is walking a fine line to prevent conflict. The Somalia-Eritrea alliance brings both risk and opportunity. The greatest danger is escalation into open conflict, which could destabilize the entire region and disrupt global trade. The Ethiopia-Somaliland deal could also inspire other secessionist movements, threatening Africa's fragile borders. Yet the alliance could force a new balance of power, pushing all sides toward negotiation. International attention may help address deeper issues like development and security. If managed wisely, the crisis could lead to positive transformation. The region's future depends on whether leaders choose confrontation or compromise. The Horn of Africa stands at a pivotal moment. As 2025 draws to a close, the Horn of Africa's future remains uncertain. The Somalia-Eritrea alliance has changed the game, but core issues, Ethiopia's need for sea access and Somalia's sovereignty, are unresolved. The region could face a prolonged standoff or, with international pressure, a diplomatic breakthrough. External powers like Egypt, Turkey, and the US will play a decisive role. The choices made now will shape the lives of millions. Will this new alliance bring stability or spark greater conflict? The next chapter in the Horn of Africa is about to be written.